Fantastic release, first of all.
Thank you so much.
So let me ask you, what is the vision for 2023 for Z5 and your reason for backing Chhatriwali?
Okay, that's so tall
Lots of
question.
questions.
Yeah. Okay, so vision for 2023, we just want to please India, connect with Indians, and ensure we are presenting real, relatable stories which all of you enjoy. I think that's what we do best, and we want to do it even better as we go forward. So simple, that's about it. Keep India entertained at home with the Z5 as the best OT everyone should subscribe to. So that's it.
Fantastic. Your vision behind backing a film like this?
Okay. We look for real relatable stories जो कि connect करती हैं, जो कि सबके साथ connect करती हैं. तो let me ask you a question on that question.
Oh my
Yeah?
God, I'm so not prepared. Yes.
What do you think is India's biggest problem?
India's biggest problem? Population.
True that.
Oh my
You
God, I
nailed
got it
it.
right. Amazing.
So what's the subject doing here? It's connecting with Indians in a very fun, quirky way. I'm sure you've seen the trailer, and everyone of us should see it. It connects with the Janta, the pulse, and
Correct.
kind of, it's a very relatable problem for everyone in India. I mean, if you go to tier 2, 3 cities, women, men, I mean, they're like so shy, and the subject brings it out in a very effective way. So
Okay.
I think it was a no-brainer for us to pick, and team has done a great job. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. A big hand for Manish, please. Manish, why don't you stay on? Because I'm going to ask, of course, your partner to come up on stage at this point. I'm talking about Partners in Dreams, producer, RSVP Movies, the one and only Mr. Ronnie Screwvala. Could you please join us? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Ronnie, big fan.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Do we all say that? Big fan? Yeah. Also,
It's
big
an
fan.
air-conditioned room, so there are no fans. So I'm glad there's one fan at least.
I'm glad you cracked that joke because if I did, I would be a meme on the internet.
Yeah, we're here to be light. It's a light movie. We want to be light.
Absolutely. You know, I wanted to ask you, big fan, obviously, for the content that you've given us, but also as a feminist, I've always looked at your work, and you've been backing women-fronted stories, you know, like Rashmi Rocket, whether it's A Thursday or Wonder Women. I want to ask you, why does that matter to you?
I think for the same reason that Manish mentioned, why does population, we're going to be the most populous country in the world. But I think women are sensitive, women are intuitive. Actually, they lead in every single way. And I think stories have to be told in a very universal way. And I think in some way, cinema has always leaned on the other side. So I think you need to bring out the stories of today and tomorrow and do it fearlessly. And I think it's come naturally. It's not come as a strategy. And I think that's why we're very happy about it.
Thank you so much for that. I think, gentlemen, we're ready to show them the trailer. This is the first audience in the world that's going to watch the trailer of Chhatriwali. Please consider yourselves extremely special. At this point, of course, I'd like to request you to take your seats. We're going to play the trailer twice. You know how it goes. And Nayan, my eyes are on you. Could we have the trailer, please? Thank you.
इंडिया में दो टाइप के लोग हैं.
A round of applause, please, Ms. Rakul. Honestly, outdone yourself in that trailer, and I'm sure it's a film as well. I'm going to ask you to join So, Rakul, I'm going to ask you a very media question.
Okay.
Bada
Now I'm
bored.
not surprised.
है ना? All right, I'm going to ask you exactly how we should be asking this question because there's no other way, which is बड़ा ही bold subject pick किया है Rakul अपने headlining project के लिए.
So I think, you know, मेरे लिए एक subject, it's not about the subject being bold. I think the entire conversation is that it is not bold. It is as normal as it can be. And, you know, if we talk about, I'm a believer that if we talk about physical health, mental health, emotional health, then why not about sexual health? You know, option nahi compulsory hai. I truly believe this is the only thing we don't have an option in life. So why education related to it should be an option? And I think it's very important, it's need of the hour, and this, actually when I read the script, I connected with it so much that, you know, I felt, you know, sometimes you have certain beliefs, but when it comes to you in form of a script, it just reiterates the fact that, yes, I think I should do something which will help people. Obviously, entertainment being on the forefront. And I connected so much that nobody has ever spoken about the effects on a woman's health. You know, like we're talking about abortions and miscarriages, but can any one of us tell how many abortions can a woman's body take, or what are the ill effects, or how does it traumatize the woman, you know, mentally, emotionally, physically? And these are conversations we need to have for a society to grow and to move forward, right? So yeah, I just felt that this was something that I really connected with, and hence the film. Bold hai ki nahi, wo to nahi hai, but the thought is ki it should not be considered a bold topic.
Can I just say I'm very proud of you? Can I be proud on your behalf?
Yeah, yeah, please be extra proud.
Extra proud. Big hand for that, please, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. At this point, can I please request Sumeet Vyas to join us? Hi, Sumeet. Thank you so much. Oh, nice to see you too. Yeah. Sumit, as I was saying, first thing I want to do to you is because you know it's been a good run. You've had some really nice projects, you know, releasing back to back almost. So it's just the timing of things. As friends from the media, we're probably meeting Sumit on a weekly basis right now. But let me ask you, because there has been an influx of releases, at this point, I think I can ask you this: what sets this film apart from the other subjects that you've picked recently?
I mean, this is again a very sensitive topic, and the first thing that I really liked about the script is how clean the script is. It's dealt with this topic in a fun, humorous way, and there's also a very thin line between being entertaining and talking about an issue that can possibly make people uncomfortable, and to be able to deliver it without making them feel uncomfortable is hard. It's very, very hard to write, to make, and when I met Tejas also, and the way he saw the film, it was very, very clear, you know, and I thought it would be a great project to be a part of.
Absolutely. Well chosen, I must say. Now, I think I want to take that to Tejas once again. Tejas, the fact that you can also watch this with your family is the win already of this film, right? Was that important for you?
No, 100%, because actually the first thing which I did after we had a first cut, I invited my parents over because they are in Nagpur, they stay in Nagpur. I invited them over and I showed it to them, and they were so proud that we have taken this subject ahead. Also, what I really want to mention here is that anybody above 12 years can sit together with somebody like 80 years old, all together as a family. They can sit together and watch this film and enjoy without getting embarrassed. This is what we have tried to achieve.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for
Thank
that.
you.
At this point, जैसे मैंने कहा कि I've been a fan of him before I even knew what being a fan was. Satish Kaushik ji, would you please join us on the stage? A big सतीश जी, ये माइक आपका। आप जब भी स्क्रीन पर आते हैं, आप हमें हंसाते हैं। ये सालों से, ये कैलेंडर के टाइम से चल रहा है, एंड आई एम सॉरी टू ब्रिंग दैट अप बिकॉज आज भी हम बैठे थे और किसी ने कहा आपकी बहुत बड़ी फैन हूँ मिस्टर इंडिया से, सो दैट्स नेवर गोइंग टू लीव यू। बट आई थिंक ह्यूमर इज वंडरफुल, क्योंकि ह्यूमर के साथ आप एक सोशल मैसेज बहुत ही ब्यूटीफुल तरीके से दे सकते हैं। क्या ये आपके लिए ज़रूरी है कि सोशल मैसेज के साथ एक ह्यूमर हो?
Good evening, everyone. Lovely to be here. Yes, this is very, very important. अगर हम हिंदी सिनेमा को देखें तो हमारी बिगेस्ट हिट और बिगेस्ट सक्सेसफुल फिल्म वो हुई हैं जो एंटरटेनमेंट के साथ साथ सोशल मैसेजेस भी दे के गई हैं। वो चाहे वी शांताराम की फिल्में हों, वो बी आर चोपड़ा साहब की फिल्में हों, बड़े बड़े प्रोडक्शन हाउसेस इस बात पे टिके रहे हैं कि वो फिल्में उन्होंने हमेशा बनाई हैं, यश जी ने बनाई हैं, कि लव स्टोरी भी बताते हैं लेकिन उसके अंदर कुछ सोशल इशू या ह्यूमन रिलेशनशिप की कुछ केमिस्ट्री जो है वो बताते हैं असल में। तो विदाउट सोशल मैसेज पिक्चर का बड़प्पन नहीं बनता है। आप एंटरटेनमेंट के साथ साथ कुछ घर लेके जाएं, वो भी बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट होता है। सो आई थिंक सोशल मैसेज इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, विच दिस पिक्चर हैज़। When I read the script, when Tejas gave me the script, आई जस्ट फेल इन लव विद द स्क्रिप्ट बिकॉज मुझे ऐसा लगा कि इस टैबूड सब्जेक्ट के ऊपर बहुत सालों बाद पिक्चर बन रही है। यू नो, कुछ छुटपुट पिक्चरें देखी लेकिन वो इतनी सेंसिटिव नहीं थी, ये स्क्रिप्ट बड़ी सेंसिटिवली डेल्ट थी, और दूसरा एंटरटेनमेंट इसका जो क्वेश्चन था वो बहुत स्ट्रांग था, एंड दैट इज वाई आई लाइक दिस स्क्रिप्ट वेरी मच। मेरे हिसाब तो इससे तो मैं आपको बताऊं कि हमारे टाइम में एक बड़ी अच्छी खासी सक्सेसफुल पिक्चर थी गुप्त ज्ञान। गुप्त ज्ञान 1974 में रिलीज हुई थी और लोग उसको थिएटर में देखने गए थे। टैबूड सोसाइटी तब तो और स्ट्रॉन्गर थी, तब इसके बारे में कोई डिस्कस नहीं करता था, कंडोम को तो कंडेम करते थे असल में, है ना, ठीक है। तो तब तो किसी को पता ही नहीं था और कोई इसके बारे में जिक्र नहीं करता था, लेकिन वो पिक्चर सक्सेसफुल हुई थी बिकॉज ऐसे सब्जेक्ट को जो समाज में, दिल में, अपनी सोसाइटी में दबा हुआ, छिपा हुआ, जिसके बारे में बात करना एक बड़ी बड़ी शर्म समझी जाती थी असल में, ना। मेरे को लगता है इतने दिनों बाद, इतने सालों बाद एक ऐसी फिल्म जो ऐसे सब्जेक्ट को, जो कि हमारे समाज का एक छिपा हुआ हिस्सा है, जो कि आजकल जिसे सेक्स एजुकेशन बोलते हैं, जो बहुत ज़रूरी है, मैं भी उसी का पार्ट हूँ असल में। हम भी उसी एरा को बिलोंग करते हैं जहाँ इसके बारे में बात करना बहुत मुश्किल था। मेरी खुद की पर्सनल लाइफ में हम इन चीज़ों को डिस्कस करते थे असल में, या हम अपनी फैमिली में डिस्कस करते थे। लेकिन जैसे जैसे समाज बढ़ा है, जैसे सोसाइटी बढ़ी है, जैसे यंगर जनरेशन आई है, तो ऐसे सब्जेक्ट्स को डिस्कस करना बहुत ज़रूरी, एक नेसेसिटी हो गई है। आज मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मैं तो उसका पार्ट रहा हूँ। आई हैड ए लेट चाइल्ड इन माई लाइफ, माई डॉटर वंशिका इज 10। बहुत ज़रूरी है कि मैं उसको ये पिक्चर दिखाऊँ, बहुत पिक्चर दिखाऊं, क्योंकि उसको पता चले और उसको सेक्स एजुकेशन के बारे में बताया जाए। स्कूल में तो आजकल पढ़ाया ही जाता है डेफिनेटली, लेकिन उनको जब इस तरह का कंटेंट देखने को मिलेगा जो कि एंटरटेनमेंट के साथ होगा, ये पिक्चर बहुत एंटरटेनिंग है, ये तो मैं दावे के साथ कह सकता हूँ, क्योंकि काम किया है। और जितने जरूरी नहीं है कि अगर रकुल का कैरेक्टर कोई मैसेज दे रहा है तो वो नहीं, हर होल कैरेक्टराइजेशन इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग। सुमित, उसका घर, वो पूजा पाठ का पूरा घर का माहौल, और मैं कंडोम फैक्ट्री का जो मालिक हूँ। मेरे दादा परदादा जो है, मेरे फादर जो है कंडोम फैक्ट्री चलाते थे, और बोलते थे, फादर बोलते थे, ये बड़ा नेक काम है यार, ये नेक काम है, ये बहुत ज़रूरी है, इससे सोसाइटी को, ये पॉपुलेशन कंट्रोल कर रही है, ये तो समाज की सेवा है। सो आई थिंक दिस इज अ वेरी ग्रेट मैसेज दिस पिक्चर इज गिविंग। इट इज़ द नीड ऑफ द आवर इन टुडेज सोसाइटी, and I'm sure that this picture will be loved by the families, though everyone, some sect will still feel that it is a taboo, but उनको बाहर निकालने के लिए तो ये फिल्म बनाई गई है, ताकि वो अपनी सोच को बदले, and that is important, and that is why this film is very, very important. So I'm hats off to Ronnie, hats off to Tejas, and Rakul has done a fantastic role in this. She's a great performer. Z5 supporting it, you know. Everyone has done fantastic, and we had a great time shooting the film, you know.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Satish ji. A big hand for Satish Kaushik. Last but definitely not the least, Prachi Shah Pandya. A big hand as she walks up on the stage, please. Thank you, Prachi. Prachi, we got a glimpse of your character, and I think it'll be wonderful for you to tell us a little bit about why you think that this film is important for the women of our country to watch.
सबसे पहले तो नमस्कार, congratulations to everybody, congratulations Ronnie sir, Tejas, Sumit, Rakul, you're wonderful in the trailer, and of course my favorite Satish ji, and Rohini, you're doing a great job. Thank you so much first of all for having me in the film, Tejas. बहुत ही अहम किरदार है निशा का, निशा भाभी का, जो कि घर की बहुत ही एक अहम महिला है, और मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि all my seniors have already spoken a lot, but I think the effective word here is communication. It's just communicating about so many things in the film, since we are talking about the film. And रही बात मेरे किरदार की, तो of course Nisha is somebody who is wanting to communicate so much to her daughter, so much to the husband, so much to the brother-in-law, and कर नहीं पा रही है, जो कि हमारे भारत की कई महिलाओं का बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है, बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ा, बिकॉज वी जस्ट डोंट वांट टू फेस इट. नहीं, झगड़ा हो जाएगा, छोड़ो ना, आज नहीं बात करते. इट्स दिस इज वन स्मॉल थिंग. आई थिंक इवन नॉट ओनली, आई थिंक with I feel even in today's generation in relationships, my daughter is a 14-year-old today, and I was just telling Satish ji ki I'm very happy that the school that she is belongs to today is the same school as I went, and back then we had it much later, the sex education class in 10th standard. Today she's already had it. She had it last year in 8th standard, and she already knows a lot of things. In fact, which is quite a breather. But yes, वो थोड़ा सा ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस भी है, बिकॉज कुछ डिटेल में नहीं पता. तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि आई एम शी वॉज क्वाइट इंक्विजिटिव टू नो कि ये है क्या एग्जैक्टली. सो आई सेड वेट, लेट्स वॉच द ट्रेलर. सो आई एम सो एक्साइटेड टू गो बैक एंड शो दिस टू हर. बट मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि कम्युनिकेशन, लाइक कमिंग बैक टू कम्युनिकेशन इज द की वर्ड, एंड वी आर जस्ट हियर टू कम्युनिकेट एंड एंटरटेन एट द सेम टाइम. I'm sure you watched the trailer, and I am so looking forward to watching the film. I just told Tejas, I said I'm so looking forward to watching the film, but I'm so happy to be a part of this, and I'm so happy to be representing I don't think sirf Bharat ki mahila, I think this is a worldwide, just because they don't probably come out with it in open, because they just, the West probably just comes out very strong. That doesn't mean that no, of course they face it. I think every woman faces this, and the trauma that a woman goes through, even I would say, I mean, abortion is a huge trauma. I mean, pregnancy itself is a big thing, and yeah, I mean, I can only talk, of course, being a mother today, so I know the whole journey, and yeah, it's wonderful, and I'm so glad that we're coming with this really sensitive, entertaining film.
I'm so glad that we get to see you on the screen. So
you so
a big hand for Prachi once again, guys. Thank you.
you.
So thank you so much, all of you who've joined us on the stage. At this point, I'm going to request you to take your seats once again in the front row. Launches you've been around, there's usually this chat, and then there's usually your questions, and then we say, "Khana tayar hai," right? But we thought we'll do something more engaging, more meaningful. And if you'd allow me, I'd like to invite two wonderful women to join Rakul and I on stage at this point. Starting with Anju Kish. Anju is a certified sexuality educator and the founder and CEO of Untaboo, which is a startup dedicated to safety and sex ed, providing sexual literacy to children and to teens. She's also a TEDx speaker and the author of an award-winning book titled How I Got My Belly Button. She's also a blogger empowering parents on sex ed and the producer of the only play on puberty and safety in India titled Growing Up. She's basically a rock star, a change maker, and an entrepreneur, and I'd like to invite her once again on the stage, Anju Kish. Thank you, Anju, for sparing time and joining us today. Please take a seat. Joining Anju, Rakul, and me on stage at this point, let me please invite Dr. Ranjana Danu. You've heard her name, of course. She's one of the most famous names when it comes to gynecology and obstetrics in this country. She's here with us. She's a surgeon specialized in laparoscopic and robotic surgery, currently practicing at prominent hospitals, including Hinduja, Jaslok, Breach Candy, Surya Childcare, and of course, HN Reliance. One of the most renowned minimal access surgeons in the country, she's been a consultant for the past 30 years, and her areas of specialty include adolescent and geriatric gynecology. I hope I got everything right because I was challenging myself with that very erudite introduction. Thank you so much, doctor. Thank you for joining us, please. Oh, my chair went back there, is it? Okay, cool. So, as I said, my dear friends from the media, we're going to actually have a conversation about the film, but more importantly, about this topic. So, Anju, I'm going to start with you. You're sitting right next to me, so this is great. You know, there's a scene in the trailer where the child says that reproduction system ka chapter jo hai, wo optional hai. Do you think that sex education is still considered, you know, or frowned upon as part of schools' curriculums? What do teens feel? Like, do they want sex ed or not? What does your sense say?
Well, it's absolutely frowned upon even today. When we're talking about it being acceptable, it's a very, very niche, small audience where it's acceptable. Most schools don't have sex education still, though it's been mandated by the government. And as far as kids are concerned, of course they want it. When we go to schools, even after the session is over, they don't want to leave. And I have a bag suitcase full of questions these kids ask us. So definitely. But of course, in a country like ours, where forget sex education, we don't even teach them the right names for their genitals, right? We give pet names, that this is your nunnu and this is your vivi and pipis. So sex education to bahut dur ki baat hai, but definitely things are changing for the better.
Someone reacted pretty late and that was fun. You know, they just went, yeah, that's true. Thank you so much, Anju. Starting off on a high note, Doctor, this next question is for you. You know, there's a dialogue again in the trailer that says, "Har ghar ki ek hi kahani hai, hum is bare mein baat hi nahi karna chahte." So, despite the awareness, why do you think, and let's talk about married couples or parents, why are we not as a generation opting for safe sex? And what can we do as a country to ensure safe sex to avoid multiple health issues?
So thank you for having me here, and that's a very good question. But as a gynecologist and as a health personnel, quickly I want to orient everybody that we are a very highly populated country. Our adolescent population is almost 253 million when you take the boys and girls, out of which half of it is women, or girls, and we need to protect them. Today, the survey that has come out latest says that we have to include men also in controlling the population, to educate them and to make them have more initiatives towards using the contraceptive measures, because there's a lot of resistance amongst men to use the condom or to try and advocate any form of contraception to the female. Now, most importantly, what we see as a global issue is 8% of adolescents, that is between the 13th to the 19th year, are seen to be teenage pregnancies, and that's a huge, huge population. Out of which 4% is urban and the rest of it becomes the rural population. The problems in the rural and urban are totally different. In the urban population, it's more of peer pressure, it's curiosity, it's more of social media, it's more of addiction, it's a lot of living a life of excess, and that is what tips them into promiscuous behavior. On the contrary, what we're seeing in the rural areas is a total lack of the supply chain. In COVID, we saw it. The health workers couldn't reach, the condoms couldn't reach, the IUCDs couldn't reach, the pills couldn't reach, there were unwanted pregnancies, there were criminal abortions. But today, things are kind of getting streamlined. And I think social media, and I'm so happy that this movie has come at the right time post-COVID, where there's going to be huge mass education, and that's something that's going to play a huge role in patient education. So I'm very happy to be part of this team. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you
In
for
fact,
that. Yes.
I was just reading a statistics that post-COVID, like she's saying, that 85,000 cases of STIs during the lockdown.
Yeah, scary. I want to take a minute. I know that we have questions and answers to do, but you know, since you're here and since you're such responsible media friends, HPV vaccine. Let's take a minute and talk about it, Doctor.
So quickly, the HPV is the human papilloma virus, and the first sexual debut of a girl introduces 70% of the human papilloma virus into her vagina, and which has an affinity for the cervix, which is a part of the uterus dipping into the vagina. Each new partner is going to be introducing a new HPV strain into her body, and we do know that HPV infection is the most contributing factor for cervical cancer, which happens to be the most common cancer amongst genital cancers in women globally. So the WHO has come out with a recommendation of usage of the HPV vaccine even from the pre-sexual debut age. So from the 9th year to the 45th year is when we are advocating this vaccine in 3 doses to women between the day 0, the 2nd month, and the 6th month of taking the vaccination, and that is going to give us a huge global protection. So I do have a lot of mothers who come to me, even when the girls are going to university, and they say, "Doc, my daughter is going to be hitting her first sexual debut, so I'm going to sit outside the room, but can you actually sex educate her and make her understand what it's going to be like and how she should take care?" Because not only is the HPV vaccine going to protect her against cervical cancer, but there are warts, there are anogenital warts, there are vaginal infections which can be taken care of. So the HPV vaccine, I must say, is mandatory for everybody. So whoever has daughters, cousins, nieces, whoever between the age of 9 and 45, it's a myth. People think that, oh, after 25 or 26 or after having a child, I cannot take the HPV vaccine. Let me make it very clear. It's available all over media that any woman between 9 and 45 years is eligible to take the HPV vaccine for cervical cancer protection.
Thank you so
and
much.
not so expensive.
Not
So it's less than 3,000 rupees a dose, and I think it's worthwhile considering the ill effects of cervical cancer.
Thank you so much for that. Rakul, I'm going to ask you this. You know, we're talking about and representing the movies, right? So how do you think movies like Chhatriwali will help in changing the people's mindset towards the importance of safe sex and sex education?
See, I feel that anything, like Satish ji was saying, anything said in an entertaining, light way leaves a stronger impact on the mind of the audiences other than being preachy. I mean, if we are trying to lecture somebody, people are like, keep it with yourself, we don't really need it. But here, especially with this film, again, reiterating that our main agenda is to entertain. And this is a story of Sania's character that through her journey, even she finds out, I mean, due to a circumstance, that she needs to speak about this, right? So I feel a lot of the women, a lot of the men would connect with that, with some of the characters of the film, definitely one of the characters of the film. Women will connect with Sania's character. And then when it's a relatable story, I think the impact just happens. It's a byproduct of the film. And for us, I think for me specifically, even if 10 people, 100 people change the way they think and stop thinking of it as a taboo. I think the strongest message that the film gives is about empowering women, about the choice to be able to say no, about the choice to decide what's right for them and for their bodies. Like you see that dialogue in the film which says, "Pyase ko kuएं ke paas aane do, but kuएं ki sharton par." So I think a lot of women are not even aware that they have that choice. So through a film like this, in a light-hearted way, watching with your family, you're obviously educating the women, but also the family largely on the whole. And I think every man who really cares for his partner and is a man in true sense would, sort of absolutely bring in that change in the family. So we really hope it does.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Actually, on that note, I just want to add a little bit about the sexual act, and let's be bold and talk about it, that basically the sexual act is a biological act, and it's a confluence of two bodies wanting to give each other pleasure, which culminates in an orgasm. So it has to be very mutual. You're not getting into bed to just satisfy the other partner. And I think it's important that women come out in the open, because I have so many women in the reproductive age or the menopausal age who come and say, "Doc, I really don't know. I really don't have the sexual gratification. I don't know why I'm getting into the act." So it's very important now to converse and get across to them and make them understand more about the sexual act.
Thank you. Thank you so much. One fun question for you, Anju, which is, रेनकोट पहन के बारिश में भीगने का क्या फायदा? I think a lot of us at that point chuckled and giggled. But, there is a taboo, when it comes to this. And how do you tackle that question when it comes to you? So when they say that, what's the point of wearing a condom?
See, that is just one question. And I think what this movie does, and what Rakul was talking about, humor. I think we use a lot of humor with the students also. Because it's a sensitive topic, but who said that the sensitive topic needs to be taught seriously? They read about biology, they forget about it. So be humorous with them, open conversations, and you'll be amazed at the kind of questions which come up and how they absorb this information also. So when we talk about, particularly with the question that you've asked about the raincoat pen case, it's an analogy, right? We use a lot of analogy in our workshops also. And when we talk about condoms, it is about, most of these kids think that condom reduces pleasure. Or the young ones who use condoms feel that they need to wear double condoms, ki ek phat gaya to. And we have to actually tell them that, hello, in fact, double pehnoge to friction ke karan, it will tear. So those are also very smaller points that you need to tell these children. More than condoms, they actually believe in plan B. which is emergency contraceptives, which I think, as the doctor would tell you, is such a dangerous trend of popping these emergency pills. So thank you for introducing this concept of them using condoms.
You know, because she's mentioned about emergency pills, I'll just take this opportunity to share something that happened back in school. I've seen so many people. I remember that when we were in high school, a lot of girls thought, and this is a question that a lot of kids have confusion about, that, and they think that they'd get pregnant if they just kiss. And I remember when we were in high school, there were girls who would probably had their first kiss, and I remember this one girl who popped 6 contraceptives in a matter of 6 to 7 weeks, because she thought every time she kissed she needed to pop an contraceptive, and that led her to a massive surgery. So which is why when even in the film shiksha hai asli suraksha, so it's so important to educate. We're not talking about sex, but we're talking about safe sex. We're talking about what is the right way, so that we are responsible citizens, and we take the necessary measures, so that anything that you do is not life altering, and it was very shocking. Now, I mean, at that time even we didn't have the sense to know what's going on, and honestly even I thought ki kiss karne se shayad pregnant ho jate honge,
But even now, maybe this might not be the misconception, but they have other misconceptions. Kids as old as 17 and 18 also say that, oh, you don't need to use a contraception. After sex, you just jump up and down and you won't get pregnant. I mean, I don't know what they think, that the sperm is going to take a U-turn and come back if they... So there are a lot of misconceptions about it.
Ladies, for right now, of course, we're running out of time, but I just want to say thank you so much for, gracing our, launch today, and for lending your expertise and giving us your time. It really means a lot to us. A big hand for our guests, please. Thank you. And can I please request for a photo opportunity with our wonderful guests? So with Anju and Doctor.